Welcome to Celestial Insights, a weekly podcast that brings the stars down to earth. I'm your host, astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks. My purpose is to provide practical, unique, and insightful guidance to help you navigate the energies of the week like a boss. Hello, this is Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and on this episode, I will discuss the astrology for the week of September 7th, 2025. I am so excited to launch a Moon Mastery mini course called The Proper Care and Feeding of Your Moon. This course includes pre-recorded videos about the moon in astrology, a video for each of the 12 signs, one for the houses, and a couple for the different aspects to the moon. We'll meet twice, September 14th and September 28th, in order for chart demonstrations, Q&A, question answering, and getting together in community. You will also receive a special bonus, a daily Moon Insights Journal, which will take you through the transiting moon of Aries through Pisces. The moon enters Aries tomorrow, so you should start the course right away with details to help you understand internally how you feel through the different moon signs, the things you experience. This is a course perfect for doing under a Pisces Lunar Eclipse, because you'll really be diving into your intuition and your inner world, learning astrology and having fun with it as well. You'll learn more about yourself, your relationships. This course will help you stay more grounded and connected through the chaos and stormy seas of the collective. So I hope you will join me. There's a link in the show notes, or you can go to astrologybyceleste.com, and there is a link to the course right on the home page. I hope to see you there. Your cosmic advantage begins with the Wise Skies digital calendar. With descriptions for every planetary and lunar event, all levels of astrology enthusiasts can enjoy the calendar on any device and now in many languages. With this superpower in your back pocket, you will be fully equipped to understand the astrological weather any day of the week. My good friend and collaborator, Tiffany Herlick, creates this calendar every year, and I use it daily. I highly recommend it. Use my coupon code for $10 off. The code is ABC2025. Let the universe have your back with the Wise Skies digital astrology calendar. The theme of this week is strangers with candy, and there are three big things I'd like you to think about as you navigate this week. The first is that we have a lunar eclipse at 15 Pisces on Sunday, and that's today. The sun is at 15 Virgo, and the moon is at 15 Pisces. So people who have planets right around 15 degrees of either of those signs will definitely have some kind of story in your life. The big event may have already happened. The moon will be conjunct your Pisces planet, so there may be something very emotional that is going on. And the sun will be spotlighting your Virgo planets. That is where the emotional reaction may focus you on. Lunar eclipses are intense emotionally and often can be accompanied by some kind of event where you may get a full awareness of something about yourself or someone else in your life that is of the nature of the axis of Pisces and Virgo, which is the axis of well-being. I consider Virgo our physical health as well as our routines, and Pisces our mental health as well as our rituals. So it's routines and rituals, mental and physical health. Someone may be exposed to you who has an issue with drugs, or maybe they've quit drinking or doing drugs, or a mental issue. People are crashing out left and right where the stress of daily life is just causing breaks within them. You may find out someone's having issues with dementia or Alzheimer's, and they may tell you they have a parent with dementia or Alzheimer's. Or someone could be sick, or if they've been sick, they may have gotten in the clear news. There's a lot of celebratory news underneath this eclipse, so there may be people who have really beautiful stories about maybe how they've been fighting an illness and now they're okay. But there is energy of overdoing things. Pisces is escapist energy on the shadow side. It's very creative and dreamy and illusory. It's a water sign, so there's an intense nature of emotions, which can be very compassionate and empathetic. People may be experiencing big themes of emotional overwhelm. I don't know what happened on Friday when Uranus went retrograde. That may be pulling back the tape on a big story. There's a lot about the Epstein victims, and I'm recording this on Tuesday, September 2nd, and they testified at Congress. And there was also news about how the Trump family has made $5 billion in crypto through this presidency, where he's making deals and shaking people down and enriching his family while people throughout the country are losing their jobs and their livelihoods. These tariffs are going to be really impacting people. So I'm sure this is going to make people very angry. So that could be a story that's coming through this eclipse season. And eclipses don't last just a day. This is intense energy where you can see the story coming in weeks in advance or weeks afterwards. You may have a big event right around Sunday, but it may be something that happens at a different time. Just notice what themes and where you're hearing stories. Also, people may be suffering water problems, like a pipe breaking and bringing a sudden flood. If you have any issues in your house around water, leaks, please take care of them as soon as you can, because eclipses are this big pulse of energy. I had a workshop last week, and you can go view it on my YouTube channel. It was called Anchored in the Storm, where I talked about the eclipse and did chart readings. Pisces energy can be very romantic and dreamy. You could be at the grocery store, turn, and there's a handsome or beautiful stranger. You start talking, and that's the end of you being single. If you have any health concerns, I would get to the doctor right away. Also, on September 2nd, we found out that the United States, which has sent all of these submarines and naval ships to the Caribbean, and they're threatening Venezuela because the president says Maduro is a gang leader and has an illegitimate government. The United States government blew up a speedboat that was traveling in the Caribbean in international waters, claiming it was a Venezuelan gang doing drug running. This is potentially some kind of war crime. Typically, if there are boats suspected of drug trafficking, countries will, and in the United States, our Coast Guard will often stop them, get on board, search them, and potentially detain the crew. But this is judge, jury, and executioner. Last week's episode was called The Executioner's Song, and I think it's about this event with taking out this boat. Hopefully, we will not find out that it was just a totally innocent people, because this could be a big international scandal. But this could be an event that has some consequences. It happened on the day Mercury in Virgo was square Uranus in Gemini. Mercury and Gemini are both associated with transportation, and Uranus, sudden upheaval, like just blowing that boat out of the water. No questions asked, just deciding it was a criminal enterprise, drug running. And Pisces rules drugs. I talked about this last week, that the events related to the lunar eclipse are things that there is a sudden surprise or sudden break, which is very Uranian. And then there's also this Piscean component. I called this lunar eclipse, when I wrote about it last year, severance packages. Some people will be finding out at lunar eclipses the leader, who's the sun type figure, may be taken out. We're hearing a lot about layoffs at different companies. There's also AI that's leading to computers doing the work people used to do. When I wrote about Uranus retrograde, which would have happened already 2 days ago, that a robot took my job, was what I called it. There may be some news we find out over the next week about robots doing something. I'm calling the next solar eclipse, which is on the 21st, last rites. So prescriptions may be ending, where I think potentially Kennedy, who's the head of Health and Human Services, may be ordering the end of certain drugs, or at least trying to. I'm wondering if there's anything to do about fertility, because Venus is at 15 Leo, and that's on a world point. So Venus rules fertility, women, pleasure. This is also another reason I'm really concerned about drugs, and this is why it's called Strangers with Candy. I've been getting for the last several days, don't take candy from strangers. So be really careful with drugs from people you do not know. And if you have any children that have issues, I would warn them about being really careful. There's a new street drug that is 100 times more intense and deadly than fentanyl. There's a lot of energy for joyful celebrations or parties. This lunar eclipse was seeded a year and a half ago, 18 months ago, where there was a new moon in Pisces at 20 degrees, where the sun and the moon were both at 20 degrees on March 10th, 2024. The first quarter moon of this moon phase family, where there are activations every 9 months, and when your chart is impacted, there can be a story that has pivot points every 9 months. The sun was in Sagittarius and the moon was in Pisces, both at 17 degrees on December 8th, 2024. So it was something started in March that had some kind of pivot point in December. If you got pregnant in March, you would have had the baby in December, and that would be part of this lunar phase family. They're also called lunar gestational families. This lunar eclipse is 9 months later, so on September 7th, where the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Pisces, both at 15 degrees. Hopefully, if you had a baby 9 months ago, they're sleeping through the night, or they'll start sleeping through the night after this time. What could be symbolic of Uranus going retrograde in Gemini, retrogrades, they reverse things. The child, Gemini, is no longer making a lot of noise. Unexpectedly, Uranus in the middle of the night, and they're sleeping through the whole night. This could be someone's experience of this lunar eclipse. Their child sleeps through the whole night at the first time with no crying. And then the next day, you're having a celebration that you got a full night's sleep. 9 months from now, where the sun is in Gemini and the moon is in Pisces on June 8th, 2026, they'll both be at 17 degrees. This could be another milestone for the baby. Pisces is emotional, so there could be tears flowing with the sun in Gemini, which rules children, because they are growing up so fast. The sun at 15 Virgo corresponds with the Nine of Pentacles tarot card. That's the independent lady card who is enjoying herself from all the hard work she's done and the life she's created for herself. Delighted children crowd around the orangutan cage in a zoo is the Sabian symbol. The moon is at 15 degrees of Pisces, which is the Nine of Cups tarot card, is the wish card. The Sabian symbol is in a quiet moment, a creative individual expresses the flow of inspiration. So I love both of the tarot cards. The nines are numbers of culmination, and your wishes may come true about some kind of work project. Maybe consider getting lottery ticket. This is wonderful time for you to be opening up your daily moon insights journal that you get from the proper care and feeding of your moon, and taking some time to prepare for tomorrow's Aries Moon and reading through what you're going to be looking for. Pulling out an oracle deck or a tarot deck to work through this time if you choose. That's an optional thing. Notice if there's any kind of story about zoos where an animal gets out of the cage or something like that. There is intense energy for conflict. So we're really seeing in the world it really amping up. We may find out something about what the BRICS countries came together to decide, where Russia and China, India and other countries, and North Korea came together in China last week. Eclipses are very karmic. It's a time to observe. A leader may exit stage right. One of the leaders likely going down the drain is the CEO from Poland who stole a cap from a child at the US Open. A sports star was trying to give this cap to a child, and this grown man snatched it out of his hands and put it in his wife's bag, and then online said something about "I'm faster" and bragged about it. And the stock of his company is tanking. We'll see if he's laid off, but it was just unbelievable. Part of Uranus in Gemini is pulling back the tape and showing shocking behavior towards children. It's coming to a head about all the children who are starving and in a horrible condition in Gaza. The Epstein victims are on Congress who were sexually abused when they were children. There's talk about in red states having children as young as 14, working fields, and they're lowering the age for children to be able to work. They're trying to lower the age for children to be able to get married to 14 because they want to marry off girls and get them pregnant. So we're seeing a lot about what's happening with children. They want to start giving harsher sentences and putting potentially like 14-year-olds who commit crimes into prisons with adults rather than trying to rehabilitate. The next thing I want to make you aware of is the South Node at 18 Virgo is very active this week. The sun is going to meet it on Wednesday, and Mercury on Thursday. The South Node is a cosmic drain. It's a sinkhole where things are released, flushed, lost. It's a cosmic toilet bowl or a karmic ditch. Especially if you have anything around 18 Virgo, be careful about tripping and falling into this cosmic ditch. I see it as like tripping into it, where we lean into old patterns or our default ways of being or the shadow sides of the energy. And with Virgo, it can be being overly critical, anxious, getting into analysis paralysis. A health issue could come up. Oftentimes, it's an indication of attachments we're meant to outgrow. In eclipse season, we can come into a situation where we do something and the consequences reverberate for a while. Now, the South Node also turns things inside out so we can see what is underneath the surface related to a topic, like with the Epstein victims. Virgo is associated with the Virgin and the Maiden, old men who are very potentially wealthy. Maybe Venus at 15 Leo will be about someone being exposed who participated in these parties at Epstein Islands. They may name names. There are 6 victims who are at Congress. When the sun meets the South Node, it could be a leader gets fired, passes away, falls in a ditch, and it could be literally tripping and falling from a high place. It could be your boss at a company, a leader of a country. We shall see what happens. There's somewhat of a takedown energy with this, or it could be a celebrity as a sun type figure. Pop star just flashed through my head. Now, there are also themes. Virgo rules systems, so there could be a system breaking down. There's already something that happened in Las Vegas, but we may see additional cyber attacks. There was the head of the EU's plane was scrambled on the day Saturn re-entered Pisces, the GPS system, and they had to use physical maps in order to land. And it's thought that Russia is the culprit. Big themes about this eclipse based on the Saros series, which each eclipse has an own nature to it, and their families that happen every 18 years. And this one can be related to health, paperwork, communication, or worry over a loved one. It's also been brought to the public's attention that France has told hospitals to prepare in 2026 for mass casualty events potentially related to war. That's a little nerve-wracking. Hospitals are Pisces type topics. Workers and laborers are topics ruled by Virgo. Health and digestion. So really be careful about what you're eating, because if you live in the United States, the FDA and the CDC are understaffed, and there could be illness sparked by food that is contaminated that we don't find out until many people are sickened. So really be extra careful with what you're eating. Pay attention to recalls and news. The last thing I want to make you aware of is that Mercury will go Cazimi on Saturday. This is where the planet of communication, commerce, and transportation meets the sun, goes through the heart of the sun. So there'll be an event that's of the nature. And Cazimis have themes of death and rebirth. As the planet goes into the sun, it burns off old stories. It's at the end of its cycle and it gets this rebirth energy. It's thought that someone will sit at the foot of the king and ask for a favor and it may be granted. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell's chart is very activated. She already got moved to a lower security prison and made some statement about how Trump had nothing to do with the Epstein files, which I don't believe for a minute, in order to get moved to a lower security prison. Maybe she'll even be pardoned. Pisces rules clemency and forgiveness. So there could be someone who is pardoned at this time. Take some time and just do a little meditation and think about an important thing you'd like insight in, and you might just get a great idea. Now, Mercury's Cazimi exactly at 3:51 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday. Some brilliant ideas may come in. Mercury is at home in Virgo. It's very strong. When it meets the sun, it's very creative energy. If you are embarking on a new journey, experiencing a major life event, feeling stuck, trying to make a difficult decision, or just looking to make positive changes, astrology can provide life-changing insights. There are several ways to work with me. You can come for a 60 or 90-minute astrology consultation depending on your needs. Engage in longer-term cosmic success coaching where we work together on a 3-month basis to help you overcome blocks, improve your life satisfaction, build better relationships, accomplish your career goals, and understand yourself better using the tool of astrology. Or mystic mentoring if you're an aspiring astrologer and want help with chart analysis techniques. Go to astrologybyceleste.com to check out my offerings. If you have any questions, you can email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com. On Sunday, the word of the day is intoxicating. The song Tell Me Lies, Tell Me Sweet Little Lies was playing in my head. The Pisces Moon is opposite Mercury in Virgo, both at 9 degrees. Oppositions come in from other people, and Pisces can be associated with deception. And Virgo, precision and the facts. Somebody may be whispering sweet nothings in your ear. I do recommend being very careful with alcohol and drugs because it can impact you more with this energy. The lunar eclipse is at 15 degrees of Pisces at 11:08 a.m. Pacific time. This is incredible energy for getting intuitive hits and downloads. A great time to meditate or listen to beautiful music and that sort of thing. Venus is in Leo, sesqui-square Neptune in Aries. So there's something about, there can be something like a little bit of a deceptiveness about a gift. This is Trojan horse energy because Aries rules war in the military and Neptune disguises things. And Venus is a present, and Leo, it looks very expensive. On Monday, the word of the day is nauseating. The song in my head is Mad World. Saturn retrograde at 10:29 Pisces. So people may be becoming aware of deception in the past, or Saturn in Pisces can be like a liquid that poisoned people. Recently, a reporter had a blockbuster story about the oatmeal experiments, which were something done at the Cold War. You can Google it about how people in St. Louis were poisoned by the government intentionally. It's really upsetting to listen to it. And there would be this fog, which is very Piscean in St. Louis area at times that looked as thick as oatmeal. So there could be more blockbuster reporting about something in the past. People could be dealing with a flood situation or something like that. This is energy where people can be feeling like this could just be a hungover. If you really partied it up on Saturday, you may have a 2-day hangover. But then the moon enters Aries at 11:36 a.m. Pacific time, and hopefully you're feeling better. Get up and get going. The moon meets Neptune retrograde at 1 degree. So there could be some story from the past about deception that people become aware of that they find nauseating. On Tuesday, the word of the day is heroine, like the female version of hero. Another leader may rise, or the woman is getting a lot of attention or praise from a group is possible. Venus in Leo is quincunx the North Node in Pisces, which the North Node's at 18 degrees, so is Venus. And the North Node has associations with groups. Maybe someone really wealthy gives a lot of money to a hospital or a charity. The Aries Moon is opposite Mars and Libra, and this could be important. They're both on a world point of 22 of cardinal signs. And I wrote down who is the government attacking. RFK Jr. hates depression medicines, but that seems like that's going to take a longer time to get the evidence to take them away from people. Bernie Sanders has been in the news a lot. His birthday is September 8th, so hopefully he's taking care of his health because he's been at a lot of big rallies, and there's a new strain of COVID going around, so hopefully we won't hear anything about him not feeling well. Wednesday, the word of the day is exalted. And I wrote, after a leader suffers a loss, the people are exalted. So this could be a leader who's tyrannical, goes down, and people are happy about it. Or a man of the people gives such a great speech that people are feeling great about it. I also wrote down fire and sinkhole. This is a day where there's a lot going on because the moon meets Chiron at 26 Aries. That could be people dealing with an unexpected fire. The sun meets the south node at 18 Virgo. That's a spotlight on something going down the drain or into a sinkhole. And then the Taurus moon at 1:03 p.m. Pacific time. The moon loves to be in Taurus. That's the sign it's exalted in, where it's lifted up with a special seat at the table. But then it squares Pluto in Aquarius. So there can be, like, say there's a fire that starts somewhere. People start looking for their valuables, the things that they exalt. And they're in a crisis situation or a catastrophic situation with Pluto, and they're like grabbing their valuables as they wait to hear if they have to evacuate. Now, this could be someone talking about this from a time past with Pluto retrograde in the sign of Aquarius, because the retrogrades bring back themes from the past. There's a disseminating moon at 3 Taurus at 6:58 p.m. Pacific time. So a leader could be talking about how the actions of the president are sending people down the tubes with the South Node, losing jobs, losing businesses, losing their resources as the president and his family enrich themselves. On Thursday, the word of the day is unearthed. Mercury in Virgo is conjunct the South. There can be blockbuster reporting or details coming out about something. It could be about health. A reporter on the level of a Woodward and Bernstein type could be talking about something. There can even be something of themes of moving Earth, like dust storms. The Taurus moon squares Venus at 21 Leo. Taurus and Leo are signs associated with enjoying luxury goods or status symbols. There could be some story unearthed about someone who shouldn't have getting some kind of gift that is against protocol or unethical. It could be like a quid pro quo situation. On Friday, the word of the day is bingo. The sun in Virgo is sextile Jupiter and Cancer, both at 19 degrees. Sextiles are opportunities. Everyday person, Virgo, could get big money Jupiter. They're both at 19 degrees. I am getting a lotto ticket because Jupiter is on my ascendant. I wrote down finishing the New York Times crossword puzzle, getting something complex or Virgo, maybe the Wordle, and you really feel good or emotionally fulfilled because you got it done. Sextiles in yin signs and water and earth are yin signs. So Virgo's water, Cancer's earth. There can be this internal making your own magic happen. On Friday, the Gemini Moon begins at 2:38 p.m. Pacific time. Gemini is mutable air. So you may notice people really start talking quickly. Mercury in Virgo sextiles Jupiter and Cancer as well at 19 degrees. This is like the spelling bee energy as well. On Saturday, the word of the day is robust. We have Mercury Cazimi at 20 degrees of Virgo square the president's nodes. The president has his north node in Gemini and his south node in Sagittarius. They keep telling us his health is robust. Maybe we'll see something related to Mercury in Virgo, his speech or the movements of his hands, or it could just be about a decision he's making because the next day there's a last quarter moon on the Mars of the United States. So there could be more action taken that's really aggressive. The sun and the moon both square the nodes. A leader could be making a decision that impacts a lot of people because the sun is the leader, the moon is the leader. And I wrote down who is the leader giving a favor to or writing the obituary of. So that's it for this week's episode. Feel free to email me at celeste@astrologybyceleste.com with any astrology in action stories, or let me know how the daily themes are playing out for you. Consider joining the Proper Care and Feeding of Your Moon mini course. Take care, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Celestial Insights. To learn more about my work, please visit my website, astrologybyceleste.com, where I offer personal readings, horary consultations, cosmic coaching, group events, and classes to help guide people to higher levels of fulfillment. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook at Astrology by Celeste. If you enjoyed Celestial Insights, please help others find the show. Follow, rate it 5 stars, or write a nice review. I would so appreciate it. I'm astrologer, coach, and intuitive Celeste Brooks, and I'll be back next week.